What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic Redefined. To my left here, we have Cassie. Cassie, are you excited for today?
Oh, I'm super excited.
Before we do anything, so people know what's going on, have you ever played Magic before?
I've played a total of 2 games. That is it.
And did you win?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember. I was just excited to play.
So Cassie kind of learned how to play casually with her friends, right?
Yeah, with my fiance and his brother.
And that's always fun. That's how you get trapped in and sucked into the world of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, now I have a mission.
So what is today's mission? Why don't you tell the audience?
I am trying to build a deck that will at least give me some competitive advantage against my future brother-in-law. Sean, I'm coming for you.
So we are going to teach her and you guys how to build a 60 card deck. So the format we're going for all of those Magic the Gathering people like myself is going to be historic. Just what that means is that we're going to use cards from the beginning of time of Magic and evolve any of them. 60 card just means standard. So minimum, the amount of cards you need is 60, but you can go up to as many as you want.
Okay. Is there a specific reason why you should keep it at, like, what is the ideal number to keep it at as a playable deck?
60.
Okay.
Reason being, 60. Who can guess? Can you guess?
No.
Probability. Think of probability. The more cards in your deck, the less likely of a chance you're going to draw the cards that you put in there that you need.
Okay.
So you want to get the best of the best for your cards, and you're allowed up to 4 of the same card. So keep it to 60, increases your chance of drawing those cards.
Okay. That makes sense.
Before we build any deck, and something we kind of already started over here, so break down all the fun stuff. For those that may or may not have ever played Magic, on the back of every card, you see these 5 awesome colors right here. These 5 colors represents the 5 colors of Magic. So you have white, which is plains, blue is islands, black is swamps, red is mountain, and green is forest. When deciding to build, it is ideal to be as extremely niche as possible. Same thing as starting a YouTube channel. You don't want to just say, hey, I broadcast on YouTube. You want to be super niched. So what that's going to do is help you build a deck that bounces off each other. And that's what you want. You want a deck that's going to help make everything else in the deck better. Okay. So Cassie, why don't you tell the audience what colors we're doing today?
Yay, blue and black.
Why blue and black?
Because they play well with each other.
Sure. They all play well with each other, but Cassie likes black for swamps. Just kind of think of killing other creatures, life loss, sacking, zombies. And then blue as far as wizards, sea creatures, and lots of countering, which is always fun, but we'll get into that. So we're going to be even more niche than that, right? We're going to even break down, not just blue-black. We're building what kind of specific deck?
Wizard deck.
Like Harry Potter?
Yes. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So we're going for a blue-black, specifically wizard deck. And that's important to note because we're going to look for cards that help make wizards better. Right?
Yes.
Yes. With building, and we kind of talked pre-show about it, but I want to see if you remember, is you need these lovely cards.
The land cards.
These are lands. These are how you play every card in Magic right here.
Okay.
When you pick up a card, you notice in the upper right-hand side, there's a 1 with a circle around it and a black swamp. So this card costs 1 with a circle, meaning any color I could tap and use, and black and 1 black. So it costs 2 to play. That's his converted mana cost.
Okay.
How expensive is that card to get out on the field? And you need these
mana cards
to do it, right?
Okay, yes.
So I told you pre-show. Let's see if you remember. How many of these, percentage-wise, should be in a deck?
30%?
Why?
1/3. Because you want to be able to, every time you pull, every time you go to draw a card, you want to make sure that you're drawing mana so that you can play your cards, as opposed to having to sit there and just get demolished right off the bat.
Yeah, because if you don't have any land cards, you're just going to get attacked and not be able to play anything. What fun is that?
No fun.
Not fun.
No fun.
So ideally, shoot for a third. And then obviously there's tweaks. So all the pros out there, don't yell at me for saying it's just a third. But for standard, we're going third. So what we're going to do right now is we're going through my vast collection of Magic cards.
Yeah.
And Cassie, for agreeing to do this with me, is getting her first 60 card deck for free.
Yay!
Yay! How fun and exciting
Just
is
the
it?
cost of learning.
Just the cost of learning and being on a live stream.
Fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. So she has been going through. Now, something we're going to stop right at the bat. She grabbed some cards she really likes. Is we're going to put these in order.
Okay.
So you want to be organized, right?
Yes.
With everything in life, organization is key.
Sure.
I'm not an organized person.
I'm not either.
But with Magic, I am. So remember the converted mana cost we spoke about?
Yes.
So we're going to put these in converted mana cost order.
Okay.
So you remember what that is?
These up
Yeah.
here.
So
Okay.
put them in order. What does it look like?
Does it have to go by whether or not what it costs? Like whether or not it's colorless?
Doesn't matter. Just in order.
Okay.
So what she's doing is she's putting the ones with lower converted mana costs to the left and to the right the higher converted mana cost cards. That's a 1.
This is oh,
And you can make piles of them. So put all the 2s like on top of each other.
these are 2s?
Yep. All these are 2s right here.
Okay.
This card is different. It could be 2 or 5 but for argument's sakes, we're going to call it a 2. So you're going to put that on your 2 pile. And then you have your 3 and a 5 right here.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So what we're going to look for is something called a mana curve, which is kind of like what?
I forgot.
It's okay. The average of what the cards cost. So you want to have an average around 3 of what the cards cost so you can play cards and not have really super expensive ones or really super cheap ones. Just have cheap cards, the bigger cards will destroy you. Just have expensive cards, you'll never get them out and you'll lose before you can play them.
Okay.
So you're looking for that average between about 2 and 3. So here's our 2 pile, here's our 3 pile. We want these to be the biggest.
Okay.
And then kind of trickle out like math where you have that awesome curve, that standard deviation curve.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for.
Okay.
If 3 is that peak, we're breaking down that way.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome.
For now.
So we're going to just kind of rummage through and grab some cards. I want you guys as the audience to ask questions. Ask why or not we're doing anything. If you have any questions about playing Magic, their scheme gets very, very complex. And obviously, we have to introduce the man, the myth, and the legend himself, our back producer over there who didn't know I was going to introduce him live. Craig, welcome.
Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate that.
Of course, if you guys have questions, Craig is going to be reading them out loud to us. He knows a lot himself.
We actually have a question right off the bat. The question is, can you play with more than 60 cards?
Absolutely. You can play up to 1 million if you want. It's just not ideal because then you get a less % chance of drawing the card you need. But that's obviously with 60 card historic deck. So we're just going for wizards, Cassie.
I found a vampire wizard.
A vampire wizard. What does it do? Read it.
She flies. Oh.
Ooh.
It says flying. Whenever Fiend of the Shadows deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles a card from his or her hand. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Sacrifice a human, regenerate Fiend of the Shadow.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
You know what that does?
It takes a card out of their hand.
Correct. And it goes into exile. Exile means bye-bye out of the game.
Oh.
And this gives you, that's good
But she's expensive.
because that ability is awesome.
Okay, so this is a good card.
That's a good card.
Okay.
And flying. So with flying, when flyers attack, they can only be blocked by other creatures with flying or a creature with reach.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm attacking and you can't block with this guy over here because this doesn't have flying or reach. It's going to go fly right over you. Goodbye.
Okay.
Important note about attacking, which a lot of beginners make the mistake of, is you attack a player, not a creature. The player gets to choose who they want to block with if they want to block. You cannot say, I want to attack that creature over there.
Oh, okay.
You attack the player and they get to...
And they get to choose who takes the damage if they want someone else to take the damage.
If they want someone to take the damage. That is very true.
Okay.
I found another awesome wizard for you. 2. Has some cool abilities that you can draw cards. You can have a player discard a card. And you can do that anytime you want. Anytime you want to tap 4.
Okay. What does this mean at the top right? How they're like split like that?
Guess.
I can use either or?
Correct.
Yay!
Good
I
job.
guessed.
So you can either use a blue or black for this one, or blue or black for this one. So you can use 2 blues, 2 blacks, or black and blue.
Okay.
So that's going to go there for you.
Okay.
I just can't get Harry Potter out of my head right now.
I was going more for like a Gandalf wizard, but...
Gandalf was... Oh, I was just reading something about Lord of the Rings, actually. The first one, where Gandalf fights that big fiery creature.
The Balrog?
That one. Like, that creature was apparently, like, in the first world, like, really strong, and Gandalf feared it, and Gandalf doesn't really fear anything. But it feared that.
I mean, I don't blame him.
I still don't understand how Gandalf came back, though.
That's a discussion for another time.
That's discussion for another time. Okay. I feel like with Magic, which is the same thing with other things, that whole, like, Lord of the Rings and
Dungeons and
Dragons and Witcher, it's like, oh, like, everyone loves one will love the other.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't even want to try and pronounce that.
I can't either. Just guess. Kumbhajaya.
Kumbaj?
Kumbhaj? Put it down. That's so everyone can say. Who can pronounce that? Kuhoban. Craig, any guesses?
Kuambaj?
I have no clue, but we do have another question.
Ah.
I'll put that up. How long does it take to play the game?
That's a good question.
I have seen games last 3 minutes if you're playing against pros where they just beat you in turn 2. And I have personally played games that lasted, I think my longest running game was 4.5 hours. Where you're just in a stalemate. But that's usually with Commander version, which is a different type of way of playing. But yeah, 4.5 hours once we played a game for it. And I'm sure we had to put the game on pause for the night because we played for 2.5 hours and like, all right, we'll come back to this tomorrow and try it again tomorrow. It was...
That's insane.
That was actually intense. But with your 60 cards, you don't really have to worry about it too much. So right now we're just kind of grabbing a bunch of different types of cards, trying to fill it in. So we're doing a 60 card deck. A third of those is lands. This might sound like a silly question, Cassie, but how many non-land cards do we need?
We're doing 20 land, 40. Math.
Math is a genius.
Yay.
I found another cool wizard. Tap, draw a card, discard a card.
Okay.
And then sack, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You're going to have all the wizards.
Ew. Well, I thought I was supposed to have instants and enchantments too.
Well, yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, all the wizards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're building decks, which we're going to get to after you kind of grab a bunch of cards, you want to get an idea of how many creatures. So creatures are the things that are going to attack for you, going to block for you. Then you're going to have to see how many instants. Instants are exactly what they sound like. They can be played at any time. So you can play it on your opponent's turn. You want to have a blend of that. You want to have a blend of sorceries. Sorceries are usually a little more powerful than instants, but can only be played on your turn. Unless, of course, it's a card that says otherwise. Enchantments control the battlefield, basically. So they're not directly in front of you. They're off to the side, but they have static abilities that will affect the gameplay and how it produces. And that same goes for artifacts. Artifacts tend to be colorless, some are not, but they do things to help you as a player, yet again off to the side, that are static over the course. And those are your different types of cards where you're going to have a blend of all of them to build the best deck. Some decks can even have no creatures. I have a deck out of 100 cards, there's one other creature in it because it's based off of non-creature spells. Some decks are super creature heavy. So it's understanding and having an idea, which when you play, you learn. And that's the whole point is I still, like Heroic, for example, need to look up rules. the rule book is like this, and no one has time to read that. So you kind of Google and go into Magic or Wizards of the Coast. That's the company that pays for this. And then you can get an idea of what certain static abilities do, how things work, how stacking works, how really advanced stuff you'll start learning as you play. And I think that's really important. It's learn as you play. Don't just try to figure the game out. Just guess in the beginning. And then you'll see, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then you figure it out, improve your deck, and work from there. But that's life advice. Was that good life advice for you?
That's solid life advice.
Kind of like with everything in life. You can't just figure out life and just go for it.
You need advice first.
You just kind of do, and if it doesn't work, you change. And if it doesn't work, you change. And then before you know it, you're a totally different human. That's how I feel.
A vampire wizard with lifelink.
Ooh, lifelink.
But he's also expensive.
What do you think lifelink does?
I would say bring something back. If I had to guess. Let me read this card.
So lifelink is different from the ability below it. So put it down so everyone can see.
Okay.
So lifelink is a static ability, meaning it's always there.
Okay.
And when I attack with this creature, I gain life based on its power.
And the power is what's in the description or what's at the bottom of the card?
The power is the bottom. So you'll see you have a 3 and a 2. The first number is the creature's power.
Okay.
The second number is the creature's defense. Power attacks the defense.
Okay.
So it's a 3-2, and I will gain 3 life when this gets blocked by either a creature or attacks my opponent.
Okay.
I will get that life back, which makes it kind of cool, which is why it's expensive. And then it's triggered ability. Triggered meaning on action of something.
Okay.
So when he enters the battlefield, entering the battlefield is triggering this effect. I may return target vampire or wizard creature from my graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh, so it brings one back.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. Now I see why it's expensive.
Yes, that's why it's a 5-drop, but definitely worth having in there.
Okay.
Yeah, now I got some really good ones for you now that I'm finally in blue.
Yee.
So here we go.
That's a warrior.
Serendib's Sorcerer. So with this card, he's cost 3. He's a 1/1, but I can tap him, and someone other than him, I can make them a 0/2. So if my opponent has like a 100, now you're a 0/2.
Oh, so you can choose anybody that's on the battlefield right now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
So that one's really cool. That's like an A+ card you're going to have over there. Really good card. Naden, Dean of Iteration. Read that ability.
Ooh.
Read it out loud.
Down here?
Yeah.
Oh. If a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
So what's a triggered ability?
This guy's
Yeah.
ability to bring people
So
back.
if he's on the field
Okay.
and I play him, this triggers to enter the battlefield. I get to bring a creature back. This is saying since he's a wizard, it triggers again. I get to bring 2 creatures back.
Ah, so so basically like these two would work
Or
hand in
synergistic
hand.
too. Yeah.
Okay, and that's how you want to build your deck is based on cards that just build off of each other. I get it. It's coming
There you
together
go.
now.
And then look, we're going to make it even more fun because blue is chock full of wizards. 7, so really expensive.
Yes.
But tap an untapped wizard you control. So these are my wizards on the field.
Okay.
I can tap one and return target non-land permanent I don't control to its owner's hand. So if my opponent has a really strong creature or an enchantment or artifact I don't like, I can tap this and say, put that back in your hand. It no longer applies.
Wow.
Any wizard. I could tap 2 and say, both of those. Goodbye.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Those
Yeah.
three are the musketeers right now.
We have the 3 musketeers, yes.
And
Right
they're
there.
wizards.
So, but we want to keep these high ones rare.
Yes.
So only a couple of him. But he's a good one to have.
Okay. So him alone.
And then we
Now.
get to even more fun. Like I said, blue is wizard territory. Azami, Lady of Scrolls.
Ooh.
So with Azami, tap an untapped wizard you control. Same ability.
Okay.
Except now you get to draw a card. Cassie needs more cards in her hand.
Oh.
I draw 4 cards. They're stacking on top of each other.
Wow.
And that's for 5. So that's going on top of these.
Okay.
So
I see what we're doing now.
you're getting it now?
Yes.
This one, a merfolk wizard. I may cast him as though he had flash if I pay 2 more. Flash means like an instant. I could play at any time.
Okay.
So if I wanted to play this on my opponent's turn, he costs 4. Normally, that would cost 2. When it enters the battlefield, a triggered ability. Return target tapped creature an opponent controls to their hand. You're clearing the battlefield and making room for yourself.
Okay.
So he's really good too. Lunar Mystic for 4. Whenever I cast it into the spell, so whenever I play one of those instant ones, I may pay an additional 1. If I do, I get to draw a card. The more cards you get to draw, the more possibility of getting something good to play to win, or the card you need.
Okay.
So that's a good one.
This cool card graphic is really cool. Some of the graphics are so cool. Like, I want to pull the cards just because they look cool.
You're like, that one's awesome. Yeah, the graphics are what originally pulled me into this game. Just the designs and how people draw these. And each card has an individual artist, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
The artists names are on the bottom of the card. So they're all down here. And then it shows you the year it was made, which is pretty awesome.
That is really cool. So wait, what is...
So when an enchanted creature is turned face up, it's a specific type of creature that can turn face up, and then it just gets destroyed. So it's a good card for one drop, but you have to play a specific type of deck.
And this is not that specific type of deck.
You don't know what your opponent's gonna play.
Okay. Oh, so
So-
they have to be playing a specific deck.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're almost there, Cassie.
I'm just trying to find ones that I can throw in here.
Yeah, ones are they're rare though, kind of like the 7s.
Yeah.
But the 2s and the 3s we can get
More of.
exactly.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna go for, is increasing those 2s and 3s, and you're gonna have a really good deck. Just think of me.
I will. I'll let you know how it goes when I eventually have to play this on my own.
And you're like, oh no,
Yeah. I'm like, oh my, I didn't use the 3 Musketeers the way I was supposed to.
they didn't stack.
No. Hey, this one's cool. Skull Fracture. Looks like it's got a Xenomorph on it.
Well, that's cool.
Target player discards a card from his or her hand.
That's cool. And then it says what in the bottom?
It says flashback for 4.
And it describes the ability next to it for you.
Oh. You may play this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then remove it from the game. Oh, so I can play it, and then it goes into the graveyard, and then I can spend the 4 points, the 4
To
mana
play it
to play it
again.
again. But then would I remove it from the game completely, and I can't play it anymore?
Correct. But you get to
Okay.
play it twice, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool for a 1 point. I mean, even though it wouldn't cost 1 point at the end, but. Target creature. What's Death Touch?
Ooh, Death Touch. What does that sound like?
It sounds like when you touch them, they die.
Yeah.
Yay!
So if I have a really strong power of a creature, and I attack you, and creature has Death Touch and I block, we both die because Death Touch, any lethal damage kills. We don't want this card though, because see what's in here right here?
The green?
Yeah, the
And I don't
flashback is a green cost.
Okay.
But it's all right.
Ooh.
We're getting there. We're breaking it down and we're learning. If you guys have any questions about anything, any comments, concerns, what the heck are these two doing? They're just nut jobs looking through cards on. I can do this on my own free time.
So, what is it when the cards have like the -X/-X? Where do you know where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard?
Yep. So if there's 8 creature cards in your graveyard, you play this card, your opponent's creature gets -8, -8. If a creature hits 0 defense, it dies.
Wow. So is this a card that's worth having?
Yeah, it's a cool card. 1 drop, it's cheap.
Okay. That works. So like something like this I wouldn't go for because this is banking on them also playing a black
Correct.
deck. Okay.
Look at that. You're a
I'm
quick learner, girl.
learning. Yeah, I'm doing the thing, getting the stuff.
You're just picking this up quicker than most people, which is awesome.
I'm trying. Don't know how well I'm doing.
You definitely are.
This looks cool. I kind of want this just because it looks cool.
Take cards you think that look cool. You know, that's what makes the game fun. Like, this card looks awesome. Or I'll put cards in a deck that I just like the abilities of and don't really correlate because it's like, haha. What's better than that?
I guess. That's like that cat card I took.
Yeah.
I just liked it because it was cute. Destroy target card.
But that's what it's about. Liking cards because they're cute, because they're...
I can just have an entire deck that's just cute cards. It's just cute.
You won't win, but yeah.
Sir Anthony, we have a question in the chat. I will throw it up for you. My lord, my liege. It says, ideally, what is the best cards to have in a deck, sir?
Sir? Oh, that was great. Ideally, it depends on the type of deck. And that might sound like a roundabout quite answer, but it really does. I wouldn't be throwing cards that don't make sense. It might be really good, but your theme doesn't match your theme. It's not worth doing. So ideally, it's just more about having more of the cards that are going to correlate well with the cards you have than it is having just a wide array. So it's finding a couple good cards you really like, putting 4 of them in, looking for cards that are very synergistic with what you're playing, and build your deck that way. That's the best advice I can give on that. I'm going to be playing some tournaments myself. Not playing the people that play this format being historic. You can use any card from any series, but more of the standard, so it's more limited and prevents the quick wins in turn 1. Because a lot of the old mechanics were changed because Magic realized how good they were and said, we can't have this. This is too much. So right now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing some lands. I'm going to start getting some dual color lands. You're allowed up to 4 of the same. I don't have 4 of the same for every single one for blue-black, but I'm going to grab a lot of different blue-black so they can tap for blue or black, which is nice and ideal for what she's playing. And I got tons and tons of different types. So they reveal their hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. And then has Delirium, which means that there are 4 more card types among cards in their graveyard or in your graveyard. Search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as exiled card and exile it. So if you have 4 cards of different types, meaning you have a sorcery, an instant, a creature, and a land, or 4 of those different types, Delirium hits. And if you know they have, like I said, they can have 4 of the same card. So if you're like, ooh, they have this card, which does going to F me up.
Yeah.
You're going to play this. You're going to say, I named that card. And then you can take it out of their deck, their hand, the graveyard, and say, no more, goodbye.
Wow. So that's a card I want.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to start getting some lands for you together. So like we said, we need 30%.
Which is
33%,
20.
which is 20. So we have 4 there, a 3, 17. And now we want to split blue-black. You don't want all blue or all black. So let's do 8 of each for now, and then we'll take it from there. 3, 4. What we're going to do next is we're going to start organizing our cards here, right?
Okay, so I'm done with this binder.
For now, yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to count how many we have.
Well,
6.
I'm kidding. I'm going to take this one too. And then I'm done. Ta-da.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22,
No.
23, 24.
What should I do with this binder?
You can put it to the side for now. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 36,
I'm getting up there.
37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47.
I'm not up there. Can the rest be land? I'm kidding.
Well, we got that. We have 19 lands
Okay.
and 47 cards, giving us a grand total of...
Wait, 19 plus 47? 66?
Nice.
Yeah. Math.
66. All right, so...
Which is okay. Because I
Which-
want a minimum of 60.
Correct. But we want to get rid of... You
6
should always go
cards.
through and clean up.
Okay.
So look through these cards,
Womp womp.
and we're going to figure out a couple cards to get rid of.
Okay.
Something that doesn't correlate as well. Mana curve we talked about, right?
So
Standard deviation. So our standard deviation, it looks like we have a lot of 1, 2s, and 3s and trickling off to the higher end cards, which is good.
yes.
So we have a pretty low cost deck
But
A
we
lot
have
of threes, which is good. So we notice I think we have just as many fives as fours.
which is bad,
It's not the worst thing in the world,
but it's not ideal.
but not ideal. But what I always do, which helps, is I start with low. I start with the one drops.
Okay.
And I read them, right? And then I go and I say, okay, after I read my one drops and I look at their abilities,
Okay.
right? I'm going to say, you know what? This, when I get to twos and the two drop is worse than the one drop, what am I going to do?
Get rid of some of the twos
Get rid
that
of
are
the two
worse.
drop that's worse.
Okay.
You're trying to get the better cards by looking at the mana cost because some do the same ability.
Okay. So
If
should
you do the same ability for cheaper, you want cheaper.
I?
Countering meaning that if someone plays something and you say, I
You
want to
can-
counter that.
Okay.
So this is a one drop and counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays one. This is great for when your opponent has 3 lands, taps all 3, you counter, he has no remaining lands,
So he can't
can't uncounter
pay.
it.
Okay. So that's good to keep.
That's good to keep. This is target player discards a card from his or her hand, and you can flashback that. We have a lot of cards in here that return target creatures back to our opponent's hand.
Yeah.
So a good synergistic ability, if I can return the cards back to his hand and then make him discard the cards, they're going where?
In the graveyard.
In the graveyard.
Yee. And that's what we want.
That's what we want. In the
Okay.
graveyard. Wahahaha.
Ha.
Gain 1 life. Target creature gets -X, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. We're not getting much life in this deck.
Okay.
So that one's another one gone.
Womp womp. That one was cool looking.
It's okay. This one we get to return.
But that one's also land.
And it's a land. So it's worth keeping because that helps with this.
Yes.
We have 19 now because we have 20 lands in the deck.
Yee.
Which is exactly 1/3.
Yes.
Yes. Then we move on to the 2. So we're going to keep those.
So these are my 4 ones.
And as people play, you get more of an idea. So here you go for your 2s.
Okay. You want me to lay them out?
Go for it.
Okay.
Out of 2. So I can tell you right off the bat, this one we spoke about, return target to their hand. So now we want to return things to the hand and get them to discard.
Okay.
So let's look for abilities that return things to his hand and discard.
Okay.
That one's awesome. That's returning to the hand. This is enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent's controls. It loses all abilities to end a turn. That's pretty cool for
That's
a 2
cool.
drop. This one is enchant creature. It gets their creature gets -2, -0, and loses all their abilities.
That's cool. I like that.
Smallpox makes them discard. We're gonna keep.
Yeah.
Cast down is an awesome killing card. We're gonna keep that.
Okay. So this whole row is to keep.
That row we're keeping. This one is the number of cards in our hand. We don't have many cards in our hand, so
We're going to discard.
we're gonna get rid of that one. That
Womp
brings us down to
womp.
64. We talked about how awesome that card
He's
was.
staying.
He's a must. I would actually recommend getting more of him. This one is tap, deal 1 damage to any target and 1 damage to any target of an opponent's choice. That's going to hurt you, your small creatures.
Yeah. So, that
So let's
one's
get rid
gonna
of that
go.
one. And now we're at 63.
Okay.
This one lets you draw cards. This one makes them discard cards.
We want to keep that.
Yep.
Yay.
This one makes them their creature tap and not untap. That's pretty cool. And it's a wizard. And it has Surveil. Surveil means look at the top 2 cards. You can put any number of them in your graveyard or on top of your library. So it gives you a chance to look, organize, put them back.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
All right. We want that.
This lets you destroy or return to the hand,
Which we want options.
which we want. This lets you return target creature that you have back to the battlefield. We
Aha.
want that. This one is just a life loss and life gain. Do we want this card?
I mean, I guess not.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
It doesn't fit.
Okay.
So we got rid of 5, so we're at
5.
62. This one's a counter and destroy creature. We want that.
Okay.
Here's another destroy creature. We want that.
We want to
This one makes them return things or lets us draw.
We want that.
We want that.
All right. Cool.
Just kind of note, this is all she has for 4 5s and then 1 7. This is great to keep.
Okay.
It means your deck is very cheap to play. It's going to be quick. These are good cards for long game. So right off the bat, you can kind of take a look at what's here, but we're going to keep all of these.
Okay. Okay.
So we got to get rid of 1 more card.
This is deals 3 to the creature, and I gain 3 life. I feel like I should keep. No. Deals 3 and I gain 3.
It's up to you. You could kill one of their creatures, but
it doesn't really do much, I guess.
everything else helps you a little bit more than that one does.
Yeah, so that.
So we'll just get rid of that, and then we are at 60, Cassie.
Wow, this is my deck?
That's your deck.
Gasp.
How's it feel?
I'm excited.
So you got those.
This is exciting.
You got these. All you got to say is who donated all these cards to you.
Anthony Amen.
Oh, no. What's the channel name?
Redefined.
Magic Redefined.
Magic Redefined.
So you have your deck. You have your lands.
And now I got to shuffle them all up.
When you're ready to play, you shuffle them all up. You got 60 cards. And that's it for making a deck. So I think we're going to have to do a future episode of actually playing. But I hope this helps on how to make a basic 60 card deck. I know that was a little on the longer side, but we learned something, right?
Yeah.
You
I learned a lot.
You feel overwhelmed?
In the beginning I did, but as we were going through the cards, it definitely became clearer. You got to go into it with a particular goal and an idea in mind so it doesn't become overwhelming. Because when I first was looking through the binders, it's like, all these cards are, what do all these do? But you did a great job of explaining, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Magic Redefined. Until next time. Up top.
Woo!